Does the Scotch game lead to open pawn structures? Imagine sitting across from your opponent, the chessboard set, and the pieces ready for battle. You open with the Scotch game, a choice that has been played by many great players throughout history. But what does this opening mean for the pawn structures that will develop as the game unfolds? The Scotch game begins with the moves: pawn to e4, pawn to e5, knight to f3, and then pawn to d4. This opening is known for its direct approach, aiming to challenge the center immediately. By playing pawn to d4, white seeks to open lines and create tension in the center of the board. As the game progresses, the response from black can significantly influence the pawn structure. If black captures the pawn on d4, white will typically recapture with the knight. This exchange often leads to an open position where both players have opportunities to develop their pieces actively. In many variations of the Scotch game, the center remains fluid, allowing 4 open lines for both rooks and bishops. The exchanges that occur can lead to doubled pawns or isolated pawns, which are characteristics of open pawn structures. However, not all responses from black will lead to open structures. If black chooses to maintain the tension with moves like pawn to d6 instead of capturing on d4, the game can transition into a more closed position. This decision can lead to a different type of pawn structure, one that is more solid and less dynamic. In conclusion, while the Scotch game has the potential to lead to open pawn structures, the actual outcome depends on the choices made by both players. The initial moves set the stage, but the path the game takes will ultimately determine the nature of the pawn formations on the board. So, the next time you play the Scotch game, consider how your decisions can shape the unfolding battle of pawns.